Okay, so some of you still have a doubt about which textbook you're using. Elements of Discrete Mathematics by C.L. Liu. In the syllabus, I've mentioned it as textbook, and then below that, you have two reference books. This is the book that you're mainly going to use. Okay, Elements of Discrete Mathematics by C.L. Liu. I think you can see a mirror reflection. Anyway, it's there in the syllabus. That's the book. Visible, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so don't leave this class. I'm going to ask you questions. I have the list of your names. More than me teaching you, you will teach me today. This is going to be an interactive class. All right. Okay, so you start writing Unit 1 as this doesn't have a title. Introduction is a subheading there, okay? So starting with Unit 1, below that you write the subheading as Introduction. If there is any question, you can put up in the chat box also. I'm looking at it simultaneously. And I'm going to go a bit slow because this is the first time I'm using a PowerPoint presentation for an online class. Last class I used something else. I just updated my laptop yesterday, so please bear with me. Okay, before we start, can anyone tell me what is the significance of a set? Why do we have a set? You can put it up in the chat box. What is the significance of a set? Tell me in your own words. It may not be mathematically, you may not give me mathematical definitions or something like that. Anything in general. What is a set? Why do we have a set? Why do we need a set? Arrangement, okay. To group, yes. To group objects. To store related data, yes. I'll give you a minute more. You can go on. Some interesting things are coming up. Collection of related data, okay. Collection of particular elements, yes. To define a collection of objects, okay. To list down, once you categorize objects into a set, it becomes easier to list down their features. So that's what you mean, I guess. Yes, similar properties. Becomes easy to distinguish things, yes. Okay, any more inputs? We could easily apply and work on one of them, yes. So the main idea of why we need a set is to put together a collection of objects that are related to each other and house them, put a boundary around them or something like that. Or in other words, to categorize things into different sets. What happens when you categorize things into sets is it becomes easier to study the different sets individually rather than studying the whole group of objects together. For example, once you categorize living beings into sets, a set of different animals, set of different birds, it becomes easier to list down their features of these living beings when they are separated into two different sets. For example, the set of animals can run on four legs, they have four limbs, whereas the birds also have four limbs, but two of their limbs are modified into wings. So, you can list down their features easily when you separate objects into different sets. Or also, bat is, you can say bat is an animal as well as a bird. I'm not very sure about the lingo. But yeah, it has features of animals as well as birds, right? So something like that. It becomes easier to list down features. Yeah, mammal. Thanks. It becomes easier to list down features when you categorize things into different sets. So that's the main idea. Mathematically speaking, studying the properties of numbers becomes easier when you divide the numbers into different sets. Last year you studied groups. This year you're going to study rings. Groups and rings are nothing but sets with some specific properties. So studying set theory has made mathematics much simpler, and you'll see why in the upcoming topics. So that was a little something about sets. Now we'll look at the definition of set. Are you still with me? I'm feeling weird speaking to
Yes, ma'am.
device. Okay. Okay, so under introduction, you can write set theory as the next subheading. Okay, under introduction, you have set theory, permutation, combinations, mathematical induction, and something else. So under introduction, this is the next heading you're supposed to write, set theory. So far you've written unit 1, under that you've written introduction, under that you've written set theory. Is that okay? So yeah, under set theory, you're going to write the definition of a set now. You can write this. A set is a collection of distinct objects. I'll give you a minute to write. A set is a collection of distinct objects. All right? In earlier classes, you might have studied it as a set is a collection of well-defined objects, right? What do you think is the difference between these two definitions? Is there any significant difference at all? Here, this definition is by the author C.L. Leave. Okay, all the definitions that I'm going to put up here are taken from Elements of Discrete Mathematics by C.L. Leave. We have to follow the author's definition. So this is the one given by him. Okay, a set is a collection of distinct objects. Whereas earlier, we have studied it as a set is a collection of well-defined objects. Right? What do you think is the difference between these two definitions? Put it up in the chat or you can unmute and speak. Or else I'll start feeling weird here. Or maybe I'll just call your names. What do you think is a well-defined collection of objects? You can put it in the chat if I call out your name. Is Sharon S here? Sharon? Sharon, can you tell me? What is the meaning of well-defined objects? You can come up with an example to say this. Okay, fine, let me not waste time. I'll give an example myself. If I ask you, what is the set of the best 3 movies of this year, okay, of 2020? Okay, let's not talk about 2020 because it's not over yet and not many movies released. 2019, okay? Give me the set of best 3 movies of 2019. Can you put it up in the chat box? Yes, Mahima. Yeah, that's the essence of it. Come on, you can do a little time pass here and put the best 3 movies of 2019. No, like put all the 3 movies together. Put all the 3 movies together. And do not copy from each other. In your opinion, the best 3 movies of 2019. Okay, everybody is coming up with Parasite. Nobody thinks differently? Yeah, Jojo Rabbit is a nice one. Okay, so see, now I can see more than 3 movies coming up. Earlier there was Parasite, Avengers, now there is something else coming up. More than 3 movies, right? What has happened here? What is the problem with my question here? I asked you to give me the best 3 movies of 2019. What was missing in my question? Yes, when I asked this question, all of you should have been able to give the same set of 3 movies and not a set of 3 different movies, okay? The 3 movies should have been unique for all of you. All of you should have been able to give me the same set of 3 movies. So what was missing in my question? Let me repeat it. I asked you the best 3 movies of 2019. I should have given some condition over there, right? Maybe I should have told you the best 3 movies according to IMDb or according to a critique. Then you would definitely give me the same set of 3 movies, right? So you need to properly define all the conditions when you come up with the definition of a set. So I hope you got the meaning of it, well defined. But why do we have distinct here? Let's speak about this definition now. Set is a collection of distinct objects. What do we mean by distinct objects? Okay, let me put up an example here. Do not write what I'm writing with my XP pen here. I tell you what to write and what not to write. So far, you've written till here, okay, this definition. Okay, so tell me if this is a set. A dog, a cat. Can you see what I'm writing? Is it legible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A dog, a cat. Come on, snake? Very weird. Okay, snake and a cat again. Now look at the definition and look at the set I've written. Do they match? The set I've written, does it go according to the definition that I've put up here?
No, ma'am.
What is wrong? I've written cat twice, right? So the elements of the set are not distinct because cat is repeated. So when you come up with a set, the elements in it should not be repeated more than once. All elements should be distinct. Okay, so that is what CLU tells us. But there are also sets where you can put one element more than once. They are called multi-sets. And I'll not speak about multi-sets in this unit. It will come somewhere in graph theory. But for now, a set is a collection of distinct objects. Any element should not be repeated more than once. All right. If it is allowed to be repeated in a multi-set, and we'll study multi-set not in this unit, somewhere else. Is the definition so far clear? If there is any question, you put it up now itself. Or should I go to the next one? So when you say objects here, we are assuming that the objects are well defined. All right. Okay, next one. A set without any element is called an empty set or a null set. We are familiar with this. And it is denoted by these two curly brackets or this symbol, pi. All right, write this one. You're going to write all these as points. The examples that I give, you can scribble down, no problem. But these should be there in your notes, the ones that I've written in, the ones that I've typed. Please write, I'll give you a minute. A set without any element is called an empty set or a null set. One definition, two different meanings, okay? And two different notations. Can you give me an example for a null set, empty set? Like give me a definition and when you try to list down the objects, you cannot find any object in it. So can you give me an example for a null set? I'll give you one and then maybe you can come up with some definitions. Make this interesting, make this class interesting, okay? Try and make it as interesting as possible. This does not depend just on me, depends on you as well. Yeah, that's nice. Set of all negative natural numbers. Natural numbers start from 1, right? Yeah, they start from 1, 2, and so on. There is no concept of negative numbers there. So yeah, set of all negative natural numbers is an empty set. Set of numbers between 2 and 3. Set of natural numbers between 2 and 3, yes. There are no natural numbers between 2 and 3, so. Set of people who are immortal. Okay. Yeah. I believe that set is empty. I do not know about others. Not very well defined, I guess. That set is not well defined, Sujit. A set of odd numbers divisible by 2. Set of, yeah, obviously. Yes, empty set. Okay, I had a very silly one. The set of students who are in Xavier block today. Number of cats living in Mars. Have you gone to Mars? I do not know. The scientists say, I think there are no living beings there, so yeah. So yes, empty set. Okay, so yeah, that's it, that's it. That's fine. I hope you've written down this one. Should I go to the next one? Next slide. Okay, next slide. The two sets A and B are equal if they have the same elements, and we write A is equal to B. Equal sets, have you come across these? Okay. For example, okay, the set having 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Let me call this set as A. And let B be the set of all natural numbers less than 10. A is the set of those 5 numbers and B is the set of all natural numbers less than 10. Are they equal? Set of all natural numbers less than 10 include 1, 2 till 9, so they're not equal. If I put some other condition here, will they become equal? What is the condition that I need to put so that they become equal? Yeah, the set of all odd natural numbers less than 10. Then, if you list down these numbers, they'll be equal to the same set as A. The first odd natural number less than 10 is 1, and then comes 3, 5, 7, and 9. All right, so this is set B, and set A and set B are equal now with the condition of odd natural numbers. Yeah, Ritu had come up with an example. What was it? Set of all natural numbers and the set of all whole numbers excluding 0 are equal. Whole numbers is just one number more than natural numbers, that is 0. So if you exclude that, whole numbers and natural numbers, or the set of whole numbers without 0 become equal. Have you written down this definition? Okay, I'll go to the next one. You can stop me if you haven't. Even if one of you haven't, you can stop me, all right? It's fine. We have all the time we need. Okay, so next one is a subset and not a subset. Given two sets A and B, A is said to be a subset of B if every element of A is also an element of B, and we write A subset B. Please write this down and then we'll discuss. Write both the points and then we'll discuss. I'll give you a minute. Hafil, can you give me examples for, give me two sets A and B, give me numbers, set of numbers, like a finite set of numbers. Give me two sets A and B which has numbers in it. Hafil, you here? Okay, Hafil is absent. Do we have Glenil, Sanjay? None of you are here? Okay, fine. I'll give an example myself. So A is said to be a subset of B if every element in A is also present in B. All right. For example, if A is the set having 2, 4, 5, and 6 in it, and B is the set having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Is A a subset of B? What you have to look at here is every element of A should be present in B. the element 2 is present in B, 4 is present in B, 5 is present in B, but 6 is not. So A is not a subset of B here. Okay, if I had excluded the 6, if the 6 was not here, then A is a subset of B. Okay, so in the first case, when A was 2, 4, 5, and 6, you say that A is not a subset of B and you denote it like this. Okay, A not a subset of B. In the second case, when I excluded that 6, A is a subset of B. Okay. I hope you've written these two definitions down, these 2 points down. Okay, fine. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. Please write this down. Consider the sets. Please write this example down. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. B is 2, 4, 5, and C has 1, 4, and 6 in it. Please write this example down. Okay, right below this example, I want you to write this here. I want you to check whether A is a subset of B or not. Is A a subset of B? The elements 2, 4, and 5 of A are present in B, but 1, 3, and 6 are not present, right? So A is not a subset of B. Please write this. Here A is not a subset of B, comma. Next, I want you to check whether B is a subset of A. Is B a subset of A? 2, 4, and 5, all the 3 elements are present in A. So yes, B is a subset of A. Next, I want you to check whether A is a subset of C. Is A a subset of C? No, A is a larger set, obviously not. So A is not a subset of C. Next, is C a subset of A? All the 3 elements, 1, 4, and 6 of C are present in A. So C, yes, is a subset of A. Which are the 2 more that are remaining? B and C, right? B and C. Is B a subset of C? 2 is not present in C, nor is 5. So B is not a subset of C. 4 is the only element of B that's present in C. Next, you check C and B. Is C a subset of B? 4, the element 4 in C is also present in B, but 1 and 6 are not present in B, so C is not a subset of B. All right. So I want you to write these 6 statements. I mean, whatever I've written here. This whole slide should be there in your notes. All right, next one. Again, familiar definitions, union and intersection. Given 2 sets P and Q, their union is the set defined as, it's denoted as P union Q in this manner, all right? And it's equal to, it's defined like this, the set of all X such that X belongs to B or X belongs to Q. You should know how to read this statement. I'll repeat again for you, or maybe I'll write this down. This is read as the set of all X, because I've denoted as X here. If you had put it as N there, then it becomes a set of all N, all right? The set of all X such that X belongs to, or you can say X is an element, or X is in P. I'll stick to this one. X belongs to P, or X belongs to Q. Okay, this is how you read it. Quickly give me 2 sets P and Q, and then we'll write their union. Give me a set P. Come on, put up the elements in the chat. Give me finite sets P and Q. Okay, Panchami has given 2 sets. 1, 2, and 3, and Q is 5, and 6. All right, what is the union of these two sets? We denote it as P union Q. So all X such that X is an element of P. All right, look at the elements of P here. They are 1, 2, and 3, or they are elements of Q. Okay, so look at all the X belonging to Q. They are 5 and 6. Now, if Q had an additional element, say 3 over here, okay, you're not supposed to write that 3 again because 3 is already written here. You look at the definition again, union is the set, okay? And you know that set does not have repeated elements. The elements of a set are distinct. So if 3 is an element of both P and Q, you're not supposed to write it twice, but only once. Because if you write it twice, it then becomes a multi-set and not a set. All right? So either an element of P or Q, if they belong to both, then you're supposed to write it just once. You can take down examples of your own. Intersection. So P is, what was the set? 1, 2, and 3. Let's say Q is, okay, the same set 5 and 6. Now you have a look at the elements X of P as well as Q. The elements in the intersection set P intersection Q, the elements here should belong to both P and Q. Do we have such elements? This is a null set because the P and Q have no elements in common. But if I put the 3 there, like earlier, if I put a 3 here, then 3 is there in both. So intersection is the set having the singleton set 3. All right? So the definitions till here, are they clear? There are many more definitions, but we'll only stick to a few important ones that we'll need in the upcoming topics. Set theory is a very vast subject, but we'll only stick to a few important definitions here. All right. Next slide. Stop me if you haven't finished. The difference of two sets. This may not be very familiar, or you might have forgotten it. Union and intersection we always know, but difference of two sets, not very much. So you're given two sets P and Q. The difference is denoted as P minus Q, and it is a set of all X such that X belongs to P but does not belong to Q. Give an example again. So P is 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7, and Q is 2, 5, and 7. All right. P minus Q. You're going to mainly look at the elements of P. Okay, the first condition is the elements should belong to P. Okay, but the elements in P, the elements that you're going to put up here in P minus Q should belong to P but should not be present in Q. Okay, the elements in P but should not be present in Q. What are those elements? Look at the element 2 here. It is present in P, but it is also present in Q. So you cannot put 2 here. Nor can you put 5 and 7 because 2, 5, and 7 are elements of P, but they are elements of Q as well, right? So P minus Q is 1 and 3. Has only two elements, 1 and 3. You can take down more examples. I'll give you a minute. You can take down examples of your own. I think I'll stop the class here. There are 4 more things, but we can do it in the next class. It's fine. If you have any questions, you ask now. If P is 1, 2, and 3, and Q is 4, 5, and 6. Firstly, you have to look at the elements of P P and then check whether they are present in Q as well. Okay, 1 is present in P, but it is not present in Q, so you can put it here. 2 is present in P, but it is not present in Q, so you can put 2 as well. 3 is also in P, but not in Q, so 3 comes here as well. All right, so P minus Q is 1, 2, 3. So basically, what you're doing is, whatever elements are there in Q, if they're present in P, you're removing them from P and putting the rest of the elements of P in this P minus Q set. Is that clear? Any other questions? Any definition so far? You can come up with questions. I'll give you a minute more. Difference of sets, right? Hafel? Shouldn't it be a null set? No. Elements of P, see, P minus Q is basically all elements of P excluding the elements of Q. The set P has an upper hand here. Wait, let me answer Hafel's question. Wait, do not put up anything in the chat. Let me answer Hafel's question. 1, 3, 4, and 5 is P. And Q is what? 3 and 4. 1, 3, 4, and 5. Q is 3 and 4. Okay, so 1 is an element of P but not an element of Q, so 1 can be put here. Okay, just exclude the 4 and 3. Remove these 4 and 3 from P and put rest of the elements of P here. So 1 and 5. Yes, 1 and 5 is the answer. Okay, any more questions? Any other questions? So next class, that's on Wednesday, 11 o'clock. You'll have to remember the definitions that I've taught today. If I ask you for any example, you should be able to come up with one. Next class, just go through all these 7 definitions, I think, and keep an example ready. All right. I might ask anyone randomly. Okay, so I'll put up this recording in the portal. If you have any queries or if there is any doubt, you can go to the video again and ask your questions in the Q&A section. It will be better if you ask your questions in the Q&A section in the portal so that if anyone else also has the same question, it will be answered once and for all. If you ask me in WhatsApp, it will some other person might ask the same question again and my time will be wasted. So put your questions in the Q&A section in the portal and I'll answer them when I'm free. Okay, so that's it for today. Yeah, thank you for attending. Have a nice weekend. Finally, your Sunday is starting to feel like a Sunday, I guess, because there are no classes on Sunday. Class is over, people leave the meeting. See you on Wednesday.